Sometimes, the school teacher took a flashlight to catch in the small woods. Thought that at most 1 or 2 couples could be caught in it, but unexpectedly, he was shocked as if he plunged into a pile of wild ducks. A sky full of wild ducks. Now, when 2 people think back to the past in their hearts, especially when they think back to the bits and pieces of the 2 people together, even now they seem crazy, romantic, or shameful details. There is an extraordinary throbbing in heart. Charlie found that Mei Qing's face suddenly turned red. And the whole person seems to be still shy. He couldn't help thinking in his heart, didn't he just ask to go to the house to cook and eat? Why did this aunt suddenly blush? Then turned to see the old master beside him again, and found that his face turned red all of a sudden. Moreover, the whole person seemed very awkward, and he didn't know where to put both hands, so he could only keep rubbing with his fingertips. Charlie understood right away that the 2 middle-aged and elderly people must have some unusual memories about cooking and eating, or about going home with him. Paul also found out that things didn't seem right, but he was too embarrassed to say anything, so he could only say to Charlie, "Mr. Charlie, let's go to the box first." With that, he said to Mei Qing, "Mom, you've been on the plane for more than 10 hours. It should be quite tired. If you and Uncle Wilson want to talk, we can sit in the box and talk." Only then did Mei Qing suddenly came back to her senses. What she was thinking of just now was the past with Jacob, and even recalled the details of her first time with Jacob. Nearly 50 years old, she blushed all of a sudden, and hurriedly followed her son's words and said, "Oh, that's right. You see we are all confused already, let's go sit in the box and talk." Jacob also hurriedly echoed, "Yes, yes, let's go to sit in the box," and all blamed me. "I just thought about chatting, but I forgot about it." Charlie shook his head helplessly, and even sighed in his heart. It seems that these 2 people are really fighting fire. And it's the dry wood and raging fire that have been waiting for more than 20 years. If they meet together and give them a chance to burn, then it will definitely burn a raging fire. Charlie led the way, leading everyone to Shangri-La's dining department. The manager of the catering department had been instructed long ago. As soon as he saw Charlie, he immediately greeted him and asked respectfully, "Hello sir, are you a member of Shangri-La?" Charlie shook his head and said, "I am not a member, but I have asked a friend to book a box for me." The other party hurriedly asked again, "Then what is your surname? What box number is reserved?" Charlie said, "My surname is Wade, but I don't know what box number I booked. I booked the box through your president Isaac." The other party immediately bowed respectfully and said, "So you are Mr. Charlie. We have prepared the box for you. Please come with me." Charlie smiled slightly, nodded and said, "Thank you." The manager of the catering department took the 4 people to the box. Paul asked Charlie curiously, "Mr. Charlie, do you know Mr. Isaac here?" Charlie nodded and smiled and said, "I know, but I'm not familiar." Paul subconsciously said, "Shangri-La seems to be the property of the Wade family, and Mr. Isaac here is the spokesperson of the Wade family." Charlie looked at Paul in surprise. He really didn't expect this American to touch this place so clearly. So he smiled and asked, "Mr. Paul must have done a lot of homework for Orus Hill, right?" Paul nodded generously and said, "Before I was going to move the company to Orus Hill, I had already begun to understand some of the situation in Orus Hill. After all, the company was my father's painstaking effort. I could not bring it to a place without preparation. In a strange environment." Charlie couldn't help but admired, "Mr. Paul, you are so meticulous and forward-looking. I believe you will be able to flourish in Orus Hill in the future." Paul smiled slightly. Mr. Charlie passed the award. After that, he suddenly remembered something. He looked at Charlie and asked curiously, "Mr. Charlie, your surname is Wade, and you know Mr. Isaac from Shangri-La. Are you from the Wade family of Eastcliff?"